Reserving the right to object, I support whistleblowers, and I do think that they have a role to play in keeping government accountable. They shouldn't lose their jobs or be prosecuted because of their willingness to speak. But what we have seen over the last few years is that we have a system that we should continue to refine. When Edward Snowden exposed the breadth of unconstitutional government spying, that everything you can do can be seen and stored by the government without cause, without an individualized order, in secret, in bulk, in defiance of the Fourth Amendment, not one finger was raised by those voices who are so proud now to defend whistleblowers. Not one of them stood up for Edward Snowden. Many, in fact, here in Congress condemned him. They wanted to bring him to trial. Senators talked about hanging him from the closest tree, about executing him. People called into question his motives. Hillary Clinton implied that Edward Snowden was a foreign spy. Chuck Schumer now, who has such outrage and such defense of the whistleblower statute, lifted not one finger for Edward Snowden. In fact, he called him a coward. So really, I think that the outrage we see here is selective outrage, and it is because they are intent on overturning the election of the people. They are intent on removing Trump from office no matter what, and they will use whatever means they can to do it. Interestingly, though, despite all of these people calling Edward Snowden a traitor, Congress ended up abolishing the bulk collection program that he exposed. Congress knew that they had done something illegal, that by collecting all of your metadata, all of your phone call data without the permission of a judge, that it violated the Fourth Amendment. They knew that he had probably become the greatest whistleblower of all time. And yet, where are the voices defending Edward Snowden now? Not one of these people who fake outrage over this whistleblower and President Trump and the impeachment, not one of them will stand up for Edward Snowden. They would still put him in jail for life if they could. In the end, we did end bulk collection because Edward Snowden bravely came forward and said that the government was lying to us. That James Clapper, now a big President Trump hater, came before the Senate and he lied directly to Senator Wyden when he said, "We are not collecting your data." Yet where is Edward Snowden in all this? As these great defenders of the whistleblower statute are, not a word for Edward Snowden. Snowden himself said that he didn't have adequate protection to bring his claims internally because he was a government contractor and not an employee and not subject to the whistleblower statute. Subsequently, Congress fixed that. Now contractors in the intelligence community can make whistleblower claims. I agree with that. There are also now protections for some other contractors. We should extend and expand the protection, and we should make this protection retroactive to account for people like Snowden. So the bill I will introduce today will expand the Whistleblower Act, would be made retroactive so Edward Snowden could come home to live in his own country. All he did was expose that his government was not obeying the Constitution. If the fake outrage here is really towards whistleblowing, why don't we make it retroactive and defend the most famous whistleblower of all time? That's what my bill would do. While Snowden's disclosures were in defense of the Fourth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment guarantees an individual the right to face their accuser. Yet the House of Representatives has been conducting a secret impeachment inquiry based on secret claims made by a secret whistleblower. My bill would make clear that the Sixth Amendment is not superseded by statutes, and that the president should be afforded the same rights that we all should, to understand the nature of the allegations brought against them and to face their accuser. This is in the Sixth Amendment. So for all the caterwauling about whistleblower statutes, there is a high law of the land. It is the Constitution. It is the Bill of Rights. And the Sixth Amendment says if you're accused of a crime, you get to face your accuser. In fact, there was a resolution last week placed by 50 members of the Republican caucus that condemns the process going on in the House. It condemns it because it says specifically in the resolution signed by 50 Republicans that the president should get to face his accusers, that he should have counsel and call on witnesses, and to understand the basis of the charges against him. See, here's the thing. The whistleblower should be called because they are making accusations against the president. That is the Sixth Amendment. We don't do away with the Sixth Amendment because we're talking about impeachment or talking about the president. But the whistleblower is also a material witness. The whistleblower is a material witness because he worked for Joe Biden. He worked for Joe Biden when Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were involved with corruption in the Ukraine. This person worked on the Ukraine desk. This person traveled to Ukraine. This person was involved with aid. So when Joe Biden says we're going to deny aid to Ukraine unless you hire a prosecutor that is looking into my son's company that is paying Hunter Biden $50,000 a month, don't you think we have the right to call these people? Don't you think Joe Biden should appear? Don't you think Hunter Biden should appear? And absolutely the whistleblower should appear because he's an accuser, but also because he's a material witness to the conflict of interest scandal that involves Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. 50 Republican senators signed on to a resolution that says the president should get to face his accusers. My bill, the Whistleblower Act of 2019, would make that clear, that the Sixth Amendment is not superseded by statutes and that the president should be afforded the right to understand the nature of the allegations brought against him and that the president should get to face his accusers. So, Mr. President, as in legislative session, I ask that the senator modify her request so that instead the Senate proceed immediately to my bill, the Whistleblower Act of 2019, bill number S2798, as introduced earlier today. I ask further that the bill be considered, read a third time and passed, and that the motion to consider be considered made and laid upon the table.